Hi everyone, welcome to the Cars and Creators channel, where we talk about cars and some of the technology used by YouTube creators. In this week's video, I'm going to attempt to get my Ford Mustang GT and bring it back to life. You see, I haven't been able to start the car in over 6 years. I suspect the fuel pump is bad and it had some bad gas in it just because I hadn't used it for so long. But what I'm going to do today is drop the fuel tank, pull out the fuel pump, and replace it. I'm not a mechanic. I hardly ever work on any cars, but let's hope I can get this to work. So you might be wondering what kind of qualifications I have. I have none. I'm a 57-year-old retired technology guy with no car experience. In fact, this is the first car repair I've ever tried to do on my own. I don't consider myself handy or mechanically inclined in any way. But I'm gonna try to learn, and I will share my triumphs as well as failures with everyone. So this should be a lot of fun. I do appreciate your patience as I attempt to improve, and I will get better. But for now, please enjoy the video. Hey guys, so we're gonna check and make sure that the Mustang will run and that the fuel pump is what's causing it not to start. So I've tested the fuel pump in a couple of ways. I checked the fuse for the fuel pump, that looks good. There's also in the back, there's a emergency fuel pump disengage button. I've checked that, that's good. So it seems like it's the reason that the Mustang isn't starting is because of the fuel pump. So we're just gonna make sure that's the case before we go about replacing, taking off the fuel tank and replacing the fuel pump and the fuel filter. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So we're gonna use some starter fluid and inject that into the throttle body and then start the car to see if it'll run off of the starter fluid. So I guess this can be somewhat dangerous. I do have, just in case, I've got a fire extinguisher when something goes wrong. So I have my starter fluid right here, and we have the throttle body right here. And so I'm gonna spray this stuff in, and after I spray this stuff in, then Nicole's gonna try to start the Mustang. Okay. Okay, go. All right, so it took a little bit. I had to spray it in directly as she was trying to start the car. No fires, so that's good. So if it's got fuel, it's gonna start and it's gonna run. We don't know what other problems we're gonna have, but for sure, fuel pump is bad because it isn't getting fuel. So now we just have to pull the gas tank off, disconnect the fuel lines, and replace the fuel pump. We'll have to, any fuel that's left in the fuel tank, we're gonna have to siphon that out, clean the fuel tank off, pull the bad pump off. After it's all clean, then put the new fuel pump in, put the gas tank back on, and reconnect the fuel line. And then we get to try it again. Hey guys, first thing I want to do is disconnect the fuel lines from the fuel filter. So I kind of ran into a little problem already. These clips, I thought I was going to need a fuel line disconnect tool, but I don't think I do. And I think the direction of the clips, the arrow, is the direction that the fuel is flowing. Supposedly you were supposed to get clips with the replacement fuel filter, which I don't see, so I'm gonna have to be careful to not damage the clips, I guess. And so I've got to disconnect. You could just use a screwdriver, flathead, and some needle nose pliers to disconnect those. And so that's what I did with the first one. So I'm gonna remove this other clip and we'll go from there. Snaps out pretty easily. Seems like things always come out a lot easier than they probably go back in. Okay, those came off. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put the new fuel filter on. I don't see why we would not do that right away. So I've just got to figure out how to get those clips back into that spot and then install the new fuel filter and then snap those into place. So we are going to try to do that now. Okay. Hey guys, so just one of those supplemental videos. So on your new fuel pump, it's going to come with these rubber covers that are going to cover the lines on the fuel pump. What you're going to want to do is before you take out that old fuel filter, when you try to pull that old fuel filter off, it's going to leak gas everywhere. And so what you're going to want to do is before taking that filter off, take that fuel pump and those rubber covers off of the fuel pump and put those on the old fuel filter. That'll keep it from leaking as you pull it out of that bracket. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Yeah, so I had a hell of a time getting this left clip on. I just kind of assumed the clips were pointing in the direction of the flow, but I was wrong. So that clip points this direction and that clip points the other direction. So I kept trying to force it in, and yeah, that did work. So anyway, finally got them in. So the next thing that we need to do in replacing the fuel pump is we have to drop the gas tank. There's 3 bolts that hold the gas tank to the body, and there are 2 straps that hold the gas tank to the body. One of the things you're going to want to do first, however, is get some sort of a jack stand in place and get it down so it supports the gas tank. Depending on how much gas you have in there, it could weigh a little bit, and so you want to make sure it's supported as you start to remove the bolts. So we will go ahead and get this right underneath the gas tank. Okay, so that's pretty much supported there. You could also use jack stands to help you a little bit. I've also seen people that have used like 2x4s to kind of make it a little easier to support. But that should do it for what we need. So what you're going to want to do is remove the 3 bolts. After you remove the bolts, then you can then drop the driver's side of the tank down at an angle, so it'll be going down this way. Even though you remove the bolts from the passenger side, it's going to be held up by this filler tube. So it does give you an angle where you can pull that filler tube out, because the filler tube is steel and it doesn't bend. So you're going to have to pull that out of the gas tank. Really, it's less pulling out of the gas tank and pulling the gas tank away from the filler tube. And so after you've removed all the bolts, then you can start taking the jack stand and releasing that, and then the driver's side of the gas tank can then go down at an angle. So for removing the bolts, I basically just have a torque wrench, and then I have a large extension for my 1/2 inch socket. Okay, so we are underneath the gas tank, and this is the driver's side, and that's the 1/2 inch socket that we need to remove. So I'll take my wrench, and then we start removing the gas tank. And it's as simple as that. So our next step is to remove the small bolt that holds the hanger for the filler neck tube. You're going to find that on the passenger side by the rear tire, right next to the gas tank. By removing this hanger, it'll give the filler neck tube a little bit of movement, so hopefully you're going to be able to pull that out of the gas tank as well as put it back into the gas tank. And here's just a little bolt, and this is for the filler neck tube. This is the filler neck tube right here, and that's really hard. Maybe that's why. Not sure. Anyway, we need to take this off so this piece can move. and isn't part of the tank, so we'll take that off real quick. Okay, we are now on the passenger side of the vehicle underneath the gas tank. So there is our gas filter that we've already worked on, and so that's pretty much right next to the gas tank where we need to remove the bolts. And then we also need to remove the 1/2 inch bolts. That is right here, and the strap will then come off. Now once again, this is the filler tube that goes to the gas tank, so even though we remove these bolts, the gas tank will not drop. You are going to drop the gas tank on the driver's side, which then should give you the angle so you can remove that filler tube. And once again, it shouldn't be too difficult to remove. There it is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and remove that, and then we'll see you in a second. Right, so what I'm doing is I unbolted, I guess, the driver's side bolts to release the tank. And I'm gonna keep this side up. I actually unbolted the right side here, but I put it up on a brick. Yeah, so I need to get the filler tube out of the gas tank. And so what I'm gonna do is pull the gas tank to my left and pull that filler tube out. Okay, and here we go. Get it out of there. And, okay, all right. Okay, so the filler tube is out. Okay, so our next step is to remove the full fuel lines. So I did get this handy little kit from Amazon. It's plastic. I don't know how good they're gonna work. And I've never used any of these before, so I have no idea what size. Supposedly the diameter just fits over the fuel line, and then you just take this piece of it and you just shove it in there, and then it's supposed to be able to unlock the pins, and you should be able to pull the fuel line off. So let me give that a shot real quick and see how easy or hard this is gonna be. So I'm gonna take this and plop it over the top here, and then I'm gonna insert it. So I think you can see that. So we insert it into the fuel line. Well, that goes nice and easy in there, and then you just push on it, and then the fuel line should just come right off. Okay, so this is a little harder than I thought. Okay, I'll be back. All right, I was able to get them off, but man, that was what a pain in the ass that was. Okay, you might want to get, with my Ford, one of the fuel lines was really hard to get on that with that plastic tool. I think it's just because this flange right here is so big that it makes it really hard to get in there. So yeah, I saw a guy on YouTube doing this, and he had a metal tool, and this is a 3/8 by the way. So this is a 3/8 diameter. So you want to, I don't know if this is official blue color for the 3/8 in diameter, but you want to make sure you get a fuel line tool, release tool. That's 3/8 for the Ford Mustang. But it's off, and so now we get to go from there. Okay, bye. All right, so our next step is to remove the fuel pump, and they do recommend that you use some sort of brass tool to get the locking ring off. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in place and hammer. That went real easy. Okay, so that's out. And then you can remove the fuel pump. And so pull that thing out. It's not the easiest thing to get out. Kind of have to go at a little bit of an angle to get it out of there. Take that And you want to try to be careful if you can, so a bunch of gunk doesn't get in there. But you can see just the state of this fuel pump and how bad it is. It's just, it's got like pieces like broken off of it, and there's some sort of a sock that I think filters out some bad stuff, and so I'll need to fish that out of the fuel tank, find it and fish it out. Okay, so that's it. The next thing you're going to want to do after you get the fuel tank out is you have to siphon any of the old gas that's in there. So I'm just going to use this thing I got off Amazon. I can't even remember what the name of this thing was, but it's a little siphon thing, and basically this tube just goes into the fuel tank, and then basically kind of gravity does its work. You just got to get it started. So everything's going to flow down into the fuel gas can. And so I just kind of, the way it works is you just kind of do this, and it starts sucking the gas out. And then after it starts sucking the gas out, then you just release this guy, and then it just starts flowing into the gas tank. And so, yeah, this will take, depending on how much gas you have, this will take, could be 1 or 2 hours or so to get it all done. But hopefully we don't have too much gas in there, and we'll be done in a second. Okay. So the next thing you're going to want to do is, after you've got the fuel pump out, is you need to clean out that gas tank as best that you can, because you've got a lot of old gas in there, or you had some old gas in there and a lot of crud. You saw when I pulled that fuel pump out how it lost the sock, and so there's just a bunch of crap in there. So you want to do your best to clean it out. So what you want to do is get yourself some sort of stick and a washcloth, and get some dish soap, pour it in there real nice, and get some water and some sort of pressure pump, and then go ahead and get it filled up real nicely with water. Get your rag in there. Get your stick, and then just go to town, trying to loosen up as much of the stuff that you can in there. Just kind of swoosh it around, and then once it gets filled up, empty it all out, and then start it all over again. Just continue with that process, because you don't want to do all this work just to have some crud get into your fuel lines after you've taken the time. Okay, so I'm gonna go in there. I got this thing almost filled up, and so I go ahead and swoosh it this way. Take that fuel, swoosh it this way, get it all in there, swoosh it all around. Okay, and really what you're gonna want to see is, you're gonna have to do this a couple times, but what you're gonna want to see is it coming out relatively clear, the water, and there's no more gunk in there, right? So you don't want to see a bunch of particles and stuff like that coming out. All right, so we got that. Now we'll go ahead and empty it. Okay. Still got some crap in there, so we're gonna have to do this a couple more times. But that's basically the idea, is just to get that fuel tank all clean. All right, so now we're gonna install the fuel pump, the new fuel pump. And one thing of note, and I don't know if this is important or not, but I saw this on another YouTube video. So this is what comes, at least with the fuel pump that I got, the fully assembled fuel pump. And if you notice, this one has 3 little prongs, and the OEM version has 4 little prongs. So you might want to just make sure that you save this ring, this locking ring, That's my recommendation. Okay, so let's get this thing installed. Okay, so let's get started with this. So I did have the grommet that came with the kit, and so we'll put that in place, get that all ready to go. We have this locking ring, which we're going to install after we get this thing in place. All right, so want to make sure we remove the covers. Okay, so its orientation is going to go this way, towards the engine, and so that's how we're going to initially try to put this in. We're going to get the sock in there first. Trying to be very careful not to destroy anything. Now, from what I understand, we need to get it, there's a little bit of a, and you can kind of see it, you probably can't see it on camera here, but there's a well that basically this is going to fit into, and so you need to put it in that well and then turn it around to face the other direction, and then it will go in there. So now we have it in there. It's in the well. So now that it's in the well, then you just slowly turn it back. Try not to damage anything. Okay, so we should be all set. Now we're going to, you'll see that there's a pin right here and on the other side, and that matches up with the pins here. I'm not sure if you can see that. So those pins need to match up. So that little hole right there. And we just get them lined up. Oh, we need to make sure the grommet's still in there. They always make it look so easy on the YouTube. Okay, why is that one not fitting in there? That's the question of the day. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera off real quick. Yeah, so that was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So I ended up, I'm not gonna really take it out because it was so hard to get in there, but I ended up kind of going on this side and kind of going a little bit down on an angle. So I got it in this way first, and then I just kind of pushed it down on this other side, on the left side. But it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be to get in there. And I think this is the right orientation. That I think we're in good shape. Now I'm just going to install the locking ring, and hopefully that goes on okay. So looks like it slides in real nicely. And then I'm just going to use a mallet to get that into place. All right, so let's go ahead and lock that into place, and I think we'll be done with this piece of it. Okay, we are in there solid and tight. So I believe the next step is to get this back installed in the car. Okay, so I basically just slid the tank. I put the tray back on, and I just slid it underneath the car. So I can make, I think, most of these connections from it just sitting on the ground like here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect our fuel lines. And once again, now these should just snap right in. So we'll connect this one right here, and you just simply get it and you push on it. It should just snap right in. That one's on. There we go. Okay, so that was a little more difficult than I thought, but everything seems like it is. Okay. Okay, I think they call this your evaporation line or evaporation tube. And this was the grommet that was on this thing, and it basically just evaporated. So for sure, you're gonna want to get a brand new one of these. I did order them. I'll have it in my video description. But for sure, yeah, it was just basically gunk. And this is the other half of this is for sure sitting in the gas tank, so that's not good. Okay, so after you've installed the fuel line, I did get the evaporation tube installed, so I put the grommet in there beforehand, and then I just pushed the evaporation tube or line basically into that grommet, and it went in there really nicely, so that's a real solid fit. So then we have these little clippy guys, and I think they fit on either side of the fuel line to keep it from disconnecting, I think. Maybe. Yeah, okay, one's in there. That's on. Yeah, so here's the other one. So put the big one on this side and the little one on this side. One's on and the other one's on. All right, so assuming that helps to keep that fuel line nice and stable so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, so we now have our electrical connection back installed. We have our electrical connection connected to the fuel sending unit. We have all of these connected. We'll have to connect this to the power. Where is that? Where'd that go? Oh, here that is. Okay, our next step is to get the filler tube installed. So I actually thought I ordered one of these, but turns out I didn't. I got the evaporation tube instead. But this actually is in decent shape, so I think we'll be fine. So basically I got to get this tube right here into here, and so we're gonna move it to the left a little bit, and I think you can still see that. So we're gonna move this to the left a little bit, and then we're gonna get the tube, and we're gonna push this up. Okay. This is really hard to get in here. Can't get it in.
I can't go up.
Can we go left a little bit?
What, do you need it to go higher or?
Well, the problem is I can't. I don't know why I can't.
The filler tube was out.
Oh, the filler tube's out?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been about 2 hours, I think. I don't even know what time it is since I've been trying to get gas filler tube in, and I finally got it. So I don't even know. I mean, you really need a couple people for this. You need a couple people for this job, and even then they got to know what they're doing. So basically I just kind of just kept moving this tank kind of back and forth. I think in the end, the driver's side tank I put down, and then I kind of scooched over to the left, and I think I got the filler tube in a little bit better. And then from there I kind of lifted up, and then I just shimmied back and forth, and it was just such a huge pain in the ass. Finally, I was able to get one screw in on this side, on the passenger side in the tank, and then I got another screw in, and now I finally got this screw in, and I'm just tightening everything down. So, geez Louise. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, but wow, this is a really hard job for me. Anyway, so I'm gonna just tighten this guy down, so you get to watch the final parts of this job. I'll just torque this down. Torque the other two down, because I didn't torque those down all the way. I don't know if there's a torque rating on these guys. I'm just gonna do it till it's pretty tight and call it done. All right, that one's done, and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the other two down, and then I think we're done. Yeah, this was a 2-day job for me, and I don't even know if it's gonna work. I hope it's gonna work. I'll try to put my thoughts together at the end and do some voiceovers on areas that were really hard, but pretty much for me everything was really hard. Okay, bye. Okay, so this is the what do they call it, moment of truth?
Yeah, it's the moment of truth. I'm ready with the fire extinguisher.
I'm not sure why Nicole has a fire extinguisher out.
You never know. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
So I put I don't know, maybe 4, well, it didn't go all the way in, so I put in 4 gallons of gas into the gas tank. It's been a couple days. I think the first day we were like, we just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do all that work and then have it not.
Yeah, so we felt good for 2 days.
Yeah, felt a sense of accomplishment. And so now we get to have our sense of accomplishment dashed.
No, it's not going to be dashed.
If it doesn't work. So I put gas in the car. I got the battery hooked up. It's pretty much a fresh battery. So what I'm going to do first is prime the fuel pump. So I turn the ignition, or put it in the accessory mode or whatever they call that. And so we should hear the fuel pump prime, which I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah.
And hopefully we hear that, which is a good sign. And then I'll turn it off, and then I'll prime it again, and then I'm gonna try to start it, see what happens. All right, here we go.
I'm ready with the. And why are you doing all this shirtless?
Just didn't want to put the shirt back on. I want to go to get my shirt all. I didn't want to get my shirt dirty. Nicole doesn't like it when I do stuff with a good shirt on. All right, let's see what we hear. Okay. Did you hear anything? So I want you to not turn on the car, but just go here, and then go to here, and let me listen, okay? It's not a great sign. Close the door.
I'm gonna close it.
Okay, I'm not really hearing the prime, but we're gonna try anyway. So here's Nicole's.
Holy shit! I can't believe it started. That's worthy of a curse word. Oh my!
The Mustang GT.
Oh my God! Oh, let's get it in the shot.
No, we gotta get it back here.
Ah!
We gotta try to get the sun. So the Mustang GT, it's alive.
Yeah, it started.
I don't know if it's alive and well, but it's alive.
It sounds good.
So
We look a mess.
I'm officially a backyard mechanic.
And I didn't need the fire extinguisher or anything.
Not yet.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So the next job is I'm gonna get a tire ordered for the thing.
Well, first we're gonna try to. Can we not drive on the?
Yeah, we can drive.
spare?
Yeah, we can drive on the
up
spare.
and down the street.
Yeah, we can drive it.
Okay, so Daryl is now going to take the Mustang, and he's going to take it for a little drive down the street. We'll see how it goes. Okay, it started up a second time, so here he comes out of the garage.
Hey everyone. So I really can't believe that the Mustang GT started. I thought for sure I didn't hear it prime, but when I turned that ignition and I heard the GT roar back to life, it doesn't sound bad. So the job certainly was a lot harder than I thought it should be, but I guess that's to be expected for somebody that really doesn't know very much about cars. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got some value from it, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. The next video in the Mustang GT series is me attempting to flush the cooling system. That video will be located right here when I have it completed. I hope to see you all again very soon.